Thank y'all, that sounds good. All right. Thank you for the sound once again. I know it's, you know, all come together. It takes a little time. So thank you for being patient. Time for some more music. you something. Now I'm gonna break it down a little bit. Try to sound negative. Y'all ready for dancing? But I need to make sure that they have word that it's about time for them to do what they do. So I'm gonna put one together because I like to do this, Carl. And also the bias, so I might just do anything on the spot. So we're gonna call this one Harvey Court. so far? Yeah. Thank you so much once again. What we're going to do, we're going to take a short break and get ready for Dice. We need to make sure the mics and everything is in place, but we got to get y'all warmed up because it's going to get hot today. Okay. So we got to go to the bathroom, get some water, whatever. I'm telling you, once it happens, once it gets started, secure your seats. But you don't have to sit and get a part, you know what I'm saying? So with the DJ, if you would put a little bit on for us, some marching music, and we can make some changes, but we can get things together. Thank you once again for staying there. We'll do phone calls, tell the people here to come out. You just heard from Taylor Made Jazz. Give us one more round of applause, please.
I'd go anywhere just to be with you. 'Cause when you hold me, I feel it deep inside, and you know it. You feel the same way too. Oh, there's nothing in this world I wanna give just to be with you. Just to be with you, and share all my world, just to be with you, You're making my dreams come true. Every little thing you do, you know you got a place in my heart, and nothing, no one can keep us apart. 'Cause when you hold me, I feel it deep inside, and you know it. You feel the same way too. Oh, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't give just to be with you. I'd do anything just to be with you. I'd go anywhere just to be with you.
can go on for years, way past the candy and flowers, into the darkness of tears. Nothing but time. I just wanna holler, reach out my hands to the emptiness, and I cry to the night. But nothing and no one is gonna hear. But and I cry to the world. No one is gonna hear, but
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Indie Live spot. Man, that was nice. That was Icky Slide by, of course, you can see our guest, Walter Taylor the Third's in the house. Welcome, the brother.
Hey, y'all.
What's
Thank you.
going on, man?
What's up, family?
All right, man.
Say, man, what's that on your face? Is that your beard, or are you getting ready to hire somebody?
I don't want you sneezing on me, man. Have you seen how far that stuff can go? It was going through. And you got to have the right kind of stuff on, too. But seriously, there's people dying with this, man. So I just wanted to make a point that we have to take it seriously, because there are people that we're losing a lot of our people.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
No doubt about it, man.
Just showing what's going down here in the city.
That's right. No, OKC, man. Welcome back to the show, man. Gosh, I know it's been a minute, that we actually got to actually talk face to face, but gosh, yeah, it's a lot of changes since this COVID-19 and Corona, whatever everybody's referring it to. Yeah, it kind of put the brakes on a lot of things. So yeah. But it's great that we got you, man, and got you on the show. And of course, not before the show started, about 30 minutes there was a 30-minute clip of you and let's see, it would have been you, Tobias. What's the brother that was on the Congos?
Oh, that's Chuck right there. That's number one.
Yeah.
Charles Barnett. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, him and Michael Gray, I believe, and
out of Tulsa.
Yeah, out of Tulsa. And then let's see, and then also
Maestro Carl Moore.
That's right. Yeah.
The shape, I knew it was like, that's Carl though. I can see by the shape. I'm like, that's Carl. I couldn't see his face. He was in the shadows.
Carl's a bad man. I mean, all them guys, we've been blessed. I've been blessed to work with some amazing musicians over the years.
Yeah, you have. Gosh.
All I remember is the lead guitar player when your band backed us up in Oklahoma City for the IAFF.
Tim Mitchell.
Yeah, Tim.
Tobias playing bass on that, but Austin Mitchell just came back from Spain.
Right.
So first thing I did on that, I'm like, hey man, you ready to gig? It didn't take no time, so I'm saying I've been so blessed that I can make phone calls and people like, when? What time? I'm already there. Those kind of answers, so that's love.
Yeah, it is.
And that's hard to find.
It is, but
like that.
It really is, but we all came up at a different time though when you had bands. Bands were like family, and those that came up through those ranks like they know exactly what I'm talking about. This whole world today is very selfish. In many ways, very selfish. So, and I know there's a lot of talented people, but it was a lot of talented people back in the day too.
Yes,
but
it was.
A band was a family, and like we molded, and that's why we had our own sound. People had their own sound.
Right. And I hear what you're saying. Back then, bands actually practiced before they rehearsed.
No doubt. We did practice 4 or 5 days a week sometimes. It depended on what the situation was.
Yeah.
Right. What do you feel? What do you feel like you have a band that if Gary, you live in Oklahoma. If I go to Oklahoma and say, hey, can I call Walter Taylor and say I need a band to back me up in the Oklahoma area? Are you one of the people that somebody can call for that? Because you're the jazz.
No doubt. And it's not just jazz. I mean, we do it all. I mean, we do as much of it. We can't do it. We'll find out how to do it. Because we want to make sure that we want to make sure we're true to what we are, trying to give to people, because that's who's important.
Right.
Thank you.
And I don't rub nobody the wrong way, because it's a lot of people faking and shaking out there. So if a storm came through while they was playing and the electricity got knocked off, you'll find out who's doing what.
Uh-oh. You better preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Walter.
Yes, sir.
Walter, I've been knowing you over 30 years or better.
Sure.
And over 30 years or better. But the thing is that a lot of people is not aware of what goes on in Oklahoma. From the past up to the future. Give us a little history about Oklahoma and how do you fit into that scene in Oklahoma?
Well, actually, my first taste was at 13 years old. My stepfather was a blues bass player that was like one of the cats back in the days. And I think I knew how to play one or two beats, starting with James Brown's Cold Sweat. And I might have played that on every song that we played. but it was slow, moderate. But anyway, long story short, I ended up in Deep Deuce, the Deep Deuce district, the legendary Deep Deuce down there with Charlie Christian and so many more that that's made that famous.
Yeah.
So from that point, it just kind of grew. I was always playing with grown men, or women at that point. So as far as that history is concerned, Oklahoma has always had amazing music scene, amazing people. And sometimes we get misrepresented because, say, like in the state of Ohio, you got a zillion funk band. That's the funk capital of the world.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma has so many individuals that's in the industry. We got some individuals out there making it happen. Been going down for the longest.
Yeah.
So very talented people, and I represent some of those because I stand on a lot of shoulders. So I brought the knowledge that they gave me to the game, but put it on the table, and was able to bring people along with me as they were learning. We all learned together. And so I'm a result of those people. I could talk about some great names around Roosevelt Turner, bless us. He's gone. I mean, a lot of them are gone now, but I'm carrying on what they taught me.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's so important to me because I think every city, all the musicians should understand that. Don't forget about these people because what you're doing now is a result of that. And I think, we should, have a day or some kind of post page to honor those, all the time because, it's that important.
Well, I know Juanita and Abe Bollard, they was around there, they played with Count Basie, and I know you played with them too.
No, I didn't play with them.
You didn't play with Juanita and Bollard there?
No, I was just a kid, man. I was that's what I go back with.
Well, Juanita was around. Oh,
right.
You wasn't much of a kid because Juanita was still alive doing that, doing that, still playing around the scene.
No, man, but I was familiar with it, but at the time, I was in the blues scene. I was playing blues at the time with most of the legendary folk around here. James Walker Sr.
Right.
Like I said, my stepfather, Ashley Monroe Taylor, was the first gig, and then most of those people backing up people like Ike and Tina Turner. They would come to town, and that's what we were right in there with them.
Well, you at that young age, you played with Carla Thomas.
I did, yeah. But see, that's. And I want to make a note on this because Joyce said something a couple of weeks ago. There was a gentleman on that they were asking about would he perform with a band? Would he come to town if he could perform with a band locally? And I'm like, okay, that's what we used to do back in the day anyway. Anybody could come through here, and if you were the band that they needed to do these shows, they would hire you for that. I played behind Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas, Betty, Barbara Mason. It's a whole bunch of R&B soul people that I've been fortunate to play with. Right. An individual might have been in a band that he wanted to come through and pick up some extra money just doing a solo thing. And, they call us up, they send us the music, they would bring their music director, and boom, we're in it. and they would every time they would pass our names along because they knew they would get quality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when I was in college, and Barry White and his, what do they call his symphony orchestra? The
So
Love Unlimited.
Yeah,
love.
Love
Uh-huh.
Unlimited.
Love
Yeah,
Unlimited
they
Orchestra.
came to our to hire people for the orchestra to back him up when he was in Louisiana. So yeah,
Exactly.
they did good back there,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
back then. But I think it's even more popular now, even more. You
Well,
can
I'm not going to disagree with you.
two people.
It's economically, better
Yeah,
for a lot of
like
nowadays.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, for example. You weren't going to replace, certain core people in Earth, Wind, and Fire. The bass player was going to be there, etc. But now it's I think it's even more prevalent, and they're and somewhat uncomfortable about what. For example, I played in the same city twice with a band,
Mhm.
musicians in the area. The second time I used a band like yours, Walter, that they were used to playing together, and people would call upon them. So now I have learned, okay, I'm in Oklahoma City. I know that, Walter, because I played with your band, and it was great. I have it on YouTube. So I have evidence that your band will do a great job. But unfortunately, that's not always the case.
True.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, you being a solo artist, there's something that you do have to worry about, unfortunately. But if you have the people in each city that you can rely on, people use YouTube and reference from other people to give them examples of what they need. Um,
I have
that
it
works.
all.
That works. But sometimes the YouTube stuff is an exaggeration. Excuse me. So you actually have to be and you got to be in. I think you got to be in the trenches with the people that's giving you the right information that you need, because sometimes you can be misrepresented. And I know I try to make sure I don't get in over my head. If somebody comes here with 100,000 charts, and like I'm like, hold on, man, this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? Now I can take. I know who to get all that stuff too, but I'm saying that this is a good example when we did our show with Candy last year, which was amazing. And I hate we got to cancel this. Hey, Candy,
Yeah,
love you, Candy.
Yeah.
Was looking forward to this, but Candy sent the music. We prepared for that and thought we were going to have a couple of rehearsals. Nope, did not happen. The day of the show, we got there, and I'm glad I can say this because I had some amazing musicians playing with. We got there the day of the show, set up about 2:30, 3 o'clock. We're going over the material. That's why you rehearse. I mean, you do, and then we practiced what we had rehearsed individually and collectively. And that day, she hadn't even met some of these people, and we pulled off one of the greatest shows I think in a long time.
But that's how it happened with me, because I know you don't remember, but by the time it was time for me to go over the music with the band, we ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to
but we were ready.
But I have also learned that when something like that happens and you run out of time, you can't be like such a perfectionist that if one little thing was left out, it's okay because the audience doesn't know anyway. They're okay. You just don't. You're making a show, and everything does not have to be perfect to be successful. So,
Well, see, that's that live vibe. That's what I'm talking about. What we're missing in some cases. I mean, the live thing is so cool because, like Ray Charles said one time, I'm never gonna say Georgia the same way all the time.
that part.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's what I feel.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, all the cats I play with, male and female, we go in there and do something, and it becomes that gumbo.
That's gumbo.
That's
Did you
right.
say gumbo or combo?
Yeah. Gumbo. Gumbo.
Wait, I understand gumbo.
Somebody's hungry.
Yeah. And everybody's contribution makes such a great difference because the guitars might have a certain flavor that needs to be for that artist. So I make a call, and that's just how it works out. And we played together so much in one sense or another, whether it was church or, the club or out in the parking lot somewhere, that it is family. No matter how long it's been since maybe the 2 or 3 of us have gotten together, we still can just look and say, he getting ready to go. I'm going too.
Yeah.
and that direction. So that's that family, that long distant vibe that I call that's so important. You know, so I'm thankful. I'm thankful to still be in the game. You know, I still play them drums. I still get down when I need to. And the thing about it, so much technology, so much stuff going on that people are busy in that sense.
Yeah.
But when you need Gary send me a track, and I'm like, I'm gonna play this track just like Gary's got to do. We're going to enhance it just a little bit. And then if he likes it, when we take it to the stage, it's gonna go up 2 or 3 more notches.
Yeah.
Because everybody kicked in. The juice is flowing.
The tempo may be a little faster when it's live.
Excuse me.
If you look at everybody's recordings from the studio, that happens every time. You go to Earth, Wind & Fire, go to everybody's recording because you're putting that live thing in. I remember when I first started studying studio recordings, Al Green, you listen to them tracks.
Yeah.
The record, listen to the record. But then they take that record to the stage. Them jokers are smoke, put it down. So that's what you're supposed to pay to and that way the audience, you just got through giving them something wonderful, something beautiful. They can go home and be, forget about all the other stuff.
But I think in Oklahoma City, where you're from and you're representing today, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mac said something, isn't there a museum, a jazz museum of sorts that reflects the history of not just jazz, but is it just jazz or jazz, blues, etc.?
Let me say this. We have the Oklahoma Historical Society, the History Center. Then we have the African American, we have another one that's creating some of those same vibes. And then you have the Jazz Hall of Fame in Tulsa.
Okay.
And so I don't want to misrepresent anybody, but I'm saying everybody's trying to do something. But to make a long story short, there's a lot of history here that's been created and is still being created. And they're trying to capture some of that. But what we have to do as a people is step up and make sure that it is heard.
Right.
Because like stuff I'm going through right now, I mean, I've become what they call this historian. Well, I can't throw stuff away, so that means I'm a hoarder. You know?
But at least it's not toilet paper, okay?
And I just found
Just a hard toilet paper, but go ahead.
No toilet paper. But I just found the notes from when we first did our IAF festival at Jazz Lab. I have all the notes, the song, keys changes, and everything, what Gary wants. I'm like, man, I must be crazy. I said, ain't nobody gonna want this stuff but me. So, but it just means that I'm looking at this and I went right back to that time. I mean, all the after five, everything. So I'm trying to build so that history is there. I'm taking pictures of stuff, so I can tag Gary with this. Oh man, I remember that, or Joyce with that. Grizz with this is like Ray. Yeah. So it's that important that we kind of keep up with what we're doing, because who's to say it's not going to go away if we don't keep telling the stories?
Right.
Oh yeah.
And
well, let me say this, Chris. Well, there's like when I was there in Oklahoma, I used to go out and document everything on video. And Walter, Maurice, David, when they first started, like with After Five, but I was still going. I had my own show, that TV show, what I was doing every single week. That's what I documented on video. And different thing. You can go to my YouTube channel and see that. See what I've documented over the years and stuff. The thing is just being out there with some of these cats and all that phenomenal talent that's there in Oklahoma. See, people think it ain't nothing but a bunch of steers and queers in Oklahoma. That's a bull. That's what people say from Oklahoma. If they have never been to Oklahoma, they don't know what's going on in Oklahoma. Ain't no just cowboys and Indians out there. You got musicians out there, and you got history. And Walter is a part of that history, and I just want to see more things happen within that city itself. Coming up, we're already in the 21st century, rather. I want to see more things come out of that city like it did in the past. Your thoughts on it, Paul?
Well, I'm gonna say this because, and this is for every city too. We got to find a way to work together. You know, you can't have all these different organizations trying to do the same thing, and they're supposed to work. Well, somebody's gonna keep this person out because they didn't like his shoes or didn't like the way they played the horn. There's so much stupidity. I'm gonna call it what it is.
Yeah.
There's so much stupidity out here. We need to look at it for what it's worth. And what this pandemic has done, it brought a lot of people together. The closer you find out what you can really handle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And me trying to just go on through this stuff, my wife was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this dude, you know, because I just have so much stuff everywhere. And but it's just the fact that if I didn't have it, then I could say, send something to Tobias or Maurice or David, because I do have it. And they can show that to their children, the grandkids. I mean, we got some books that we read, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about that unless you tell them, unless you show them.
That's right.
There's books, recordings, videos. It's so much stuff that I don't have my hands on, but we know exists, and other people have that. No, I don't have a Grammy, but I work with people that have Grammys. Mm-hmm. I help them get to those Grammys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can say that. So, but I'm just saying, being a part of that chain, is so important. I don't want to forget it, and they haven't forgotten me either.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the groups says, was it Uptown Syndicate and the Gab Band. These is the two premier bands that was in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
The Tulsa was, I mean, not to cut y'all, Ray, but I need to make sure I slip this in. Oklahoma City and Tulsa had some of the funkiest bands. If you, like I said, Ohio's the funk capital of the world. Mm-hmm. But we had so much funk coming out of Tulsa.
Oh, yeah.
In Oklahoma City, man, it was. We just didn't have Charlie Wilson.
Yeah.
There. But the people we did have, Brenda Conway Gunn. There's a lady named Kathy Young out of Jackson, Mississippi. That was cold, man. She was about as cold as Gladys Knight. I can go on and on with this stuff, but at the same time, that was a great time for me because that was my first. I had recorded prior to this group. I was about 16 years old, and they recruited me out of a young group of high school players that was playing like grown men. And that group was called Bold Underground. And I'm so glad to be associated with them. And we had another leader, and there was an issue, and my leadership skills came out. And that's when I first started doing all this stuff. And next thing you know, we love Kool & the Gang. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Wasn't nobody like Kool & the Gang, Man Drill. Those were bands.
I forgot about them.
Yeah. Some good bands too. Yeah.
So I'm talking about bands. These are bands here. So we got a phone call. This guy said, "Hey man, we want you to open up for Kool & the Gang." After they picked me up off the floor, we started getting we got rehearsal ready for it, and it was unbelievable. And ever since then, it's just it flows through my veins.
And that you mention it, it's amazing because sometimes I notice people when they hear a big name, oh, I got to go through all this. But if they don't have a big name, oh, it's just so and so. They're not top 40. But my thing is treat everybody the same because you don't know who they are and where they're going. Do you think that, let's say 34 years ago when somebody looked at Barack Obama, that he would be president of the United States one day? You know what I mean? So.
No, seriously, I mean, I never thought I would be living to see that happen. I knew it would happen one day.
But treat everybody with respect is what I'm saying. Give everybody, because often I've seen that happen in firsthand. Well, that's just so-and-so. I'm not going to even practice. I'm just going to wing it. Joyce, you don't have to do all that. Just wing it. I said, no. You should respect your name. If somebody hires you to do something, then you need to give your best, no matter, because you don't know where that person is going. And people will remember. They can forgive you all day long, but they will remember if you drop the ball on them and cause them a lot of frustration and harm. That's what I'm saying. So I appreciate people that say, okay, like I'm in a Tina Turner tribute band, and And when I was called, I said, I'd love to be a part. And I said, okay, the person, was supposed to do the transcriptions for the horn section didn't get a chance to do it. I'm just going to say that because I don't know the details. I said, oh, shoot, I don't want to look bad, so I'm going to do it. So I transcribed the horn parts because it's an all-female group, and it worked very well. In other words, I was going to give my 100%. If I say I'm going to be involved, I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect, but I'm going to give you 100%. And I think we should do that for each other and help one another to get ahead. But unfortunately, I don't see that every time. I don't see the energy that you have, is what I'm saying. That when somebody calls, you get excited. It just doesn't happen every time.
I mean, it's just, I still have that childhood thing going on in me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Nobody, my spirit, even though I've been in some great situations with, record labels tried to break my spirit, bands try to break my spirit, but God has kept me. I got to say, I got to talk like this. God has kept me because we was hanging off a cliff one time in Arkansas. Not to fall off. I mean, I'm serious. We got a maxi van. Okay, then we got a maxi trailer full of equipment.
Okay.
And our leader turns around on this 2-lane highway. Wasn't nobody but God there, because when we backed the trailer up, it was hanging off the cliff like this.
Oh my God. Dang.
Sam Hankins.
Yeah.
David Carr.
Oh, look it now.
So we got out the van. First mistake. So that made the van lighter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We get behind the van and we pushed that thing out of there. Now you tell me who did that.
Wow. That is amazing.
So that's just first, there's so many stories I can tell you, but I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for the people that I've come in contact with. You always gonna have haters. I hate that's the truth, but you always gonna have people that tell us for whatever, just because.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, yeah.
I've had to deal with that because sometimes people that I really thought I could trust. Yeah, I mean, and then all of a sudden you get something back because I know too many people and it comes back to me.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. So anyway, we gotta keep praying for them too, and
right.
And with these opportunities to keep doing things. Right now, I'm on hold. I haven't had a suit on in it's almost like 2 months.
Wow.
I just haven't physically been to churches. It's my whole thing is broken, but I'm trying to find a way. I haven't been to work because I had to take off because of a couple of issues. I don't have to tell anybody about it. I got to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. I could be sitting up in that hospital or checked out of here if I wouldn't have took it upon myself. So that's why it's very serious. This whole thing is very serious. And like I said, there again, I'm glad to still be here because I don't have to be.
No, you don't. So I guess in Oklahoma City, just like everywhere else, all the music venues are shut down. Is it that way there as well?
Everything. People have come, so they're real creative from the house. They're setting up cash apps. They're in the front room playing the tracks, and
that's
what I'm doing. We lost money. I mean, we lost money.
Yeah.
We're paying bills with this. So people can't pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that are full-time musicians.
It's real.
Right.
It is real.
Oh. I've done that, been there, and had to have some health care. So you end up find a way to get some health care because things are so difficult now that you have to really make smart choices. Yeah. And you should do that anyway. But no, I miss my friends. I mean, it's like you lost somebody that you can't even see anymore. It's almost like a quiet death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You have a death in the family. I'm sorry, go ahead, Greg.
You have a death in the family, and you can have a funeral or homegoing service. My sister-in-law passed away, and my brother is in New Orleans, and I couldn't process that, even though I know that there was a mandate everywhere. I was like, okay, let me get ready to go, and I went, oh, but can I go? No, I can go. I'm sure it'll be all right. And I called my brother. He said, no, you can't come. We can't have a funeral. And she was a police officer in New Orleans. They tried to do a second line, and the police department broke it up. So, he said, we can't do anything. And it just really messed with my mind that I couldn't even go and sit with my brother. Can I just go and be there? He didn't have that process. And I think that it's not just tradition, it's just part of processing it. So it just bothered me that we couldn't do anything. And my mom's in nursing care, in a retirement care in Arkansas near my sister, and my sister, it's bothering her that she can't go check on her. So I think one of the nurses or a couple of the nurses have FaceTime, so I put my iPad so I can see her. But no one in the family has seen her face to face. Yeah, in a couple of months. So we hope that she's being treated well and everything. But it's just tough right now. I have a friend on Facebook, Iva. If you're listening, I'm sorry. 6 people in her family passed away due to COVID-19. So when somebody sends me a private message and tells me, take your mask off and just live, and I said, well, just tell that to my friend who lost 6 people due to COVID-19.
And like I said, that's one reason why I brought my mask out here, because it's that serious, and we have to remind one another. So my condolences to your family and the friends that you know, and we all know some kind of ways it's unfortunate, but we got to deal with it one day at a time, and like God, put it in God's hands. But I won't turn the corner on this because I've been watching TV. We've been hearing about this for so long. I wanted to ask you guys about the internet, the radio. Your response. I'm seeing that there's great numbers coming up. You've had some wonderful artists. I met some new people. I'll tell you, I don't know John Kerry personally, but I mean, I've been following a lot of people that you all introduced me to, one way or another. And I want to shout out to him and Jody Daniels, which Jody was like in our first meeting when we first started talking about AIF. I mean, we did some cold cats, right? Cold musicians. But yeah, I just want to shout out to them because everybody's going through different things. But I just want to holler at them brothers right there. And Isaac Ray is a truck driver, but he's a musician. And he's out there, it's just things that people are doing that are still helping us stay above water. And got birthday shout-outs. I got to get out there. My daughter-in-law, Candy. Want to say what's up, Candy? Happy birthday. And the month of April becomes cake month in my house because we have 3 or 4 birthdays.
Cake!
Cake month. So. But like I haven't been able to do much, go many places, so I'm thankful for this opportunity. And like my family, I haven't drove them all the way crazy yet, but we change rooms every few hours, go outside. But it's real, man. It's real.
Yeah, it is.
It is very real. And go ahead, Chris.
Okay, no, because when I see friends of mine that I especially haven't seen in a couple weeks, we give each other a hug. But the only people that I see is the people that give me rides to go, like especially to go to the grocery store and just say hello. And we can't. I mean, I don't touch them or anything because I don't want to. And I mean, it's like I'm a very tactile person, so it's hard not to give them a hug or to pat them on the back or something, or something like that, where there's that human connection. And also your skin needs that as well, needs to have that connection of another person, like whether it's shaking hands or hugging that friend and stuff, and not being able to do that is killing me. Yeah, this is like I miss that. So I can't wait till all this crap is over and done with, so that we can, when we go to a church, shake somebody's hand, that you see, and give them a hug if you're really close to that person, to give them a hug, But it's just like I miss that connection. I miss that. So when you said it was kind of like a quiet death, it is. It's kind of like somebody's passing because you can't see them, you can't touch them because they're not in your household. And so it's just like, especially for someone like myself that's single, it's like I have nobody here but just me. So it's been really tough. But real quick, because there was a couple of things in the chat room for you, Walter. Candy Williams said, to Walter's credit, he assembled fantastic folks, and we did ride the vibe, but it was because the band was capable. It was magic straight up. Thanks, Walter. And that's when we were talking about the backup band.
Yeah, thank you, Candy. Always a pleasure. We have a lot of history.
Oh yeah, Candy's awesome. I love her. YJ said that she wanted me to ask if there's any plans to get together after this whole mess is over and done with.
There's always a plan. We just got to, right now, it's one day at a time. I don't want to say yet, but there is a possibility, but I don't know how we're going to be set up. You know, there's a venue that hosts 200 some people, and if they're going to be set up differently, we got to figure out how to do this thing. We got to figure out how we're going to charge. We got to figure out how we're going to be able to go back into our system.
Yeah.
Right.
We just have to
Right.
wait. I mean, we have a date, but we don't know.
Right.
I
It's
have
still
a schedule pending.
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 Yeah, and it messes up everything because your whole schedule. Because a lot of times you want to, if you're gonna have an event, you want to do all your promoting and promotions and stuff. You know,
Right.
time way
Get it
before
all
it. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And the pre-sales of the tickets and everything else like that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you have all that prep work before the event actually happens. So,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, so
just-
it's
Just
tough.
think, you just think that they trying to open up everything right now, open stuff back up, but they want to keep you apart. But say if it's a second round of this mess, you know, it's gonna make a big difference. People are gonna be standing off from people, and there ain't gonna be no events. It's just like football. I don't think they're gonna play football this year. They ain't gonna play none because they ain't gonna have no crowd.
Well,
They sell tickets.
I'm gonna say this again because the world and TV, everything is so full of this. I really want to kind of just get away from that so we can talk about music and stuff. Because I know we got to be concerned about it. I am very concerned about it. But I'm just saying, we got to figure out what we're gonna do. You know,
Right.
as musicians and artists, you know, that's my concern because at this point I'm looking at recording. There's so many ways to get music out there now, and what we would do is support that recording and performance. Right now, we need to try to get out as much music as we can, introduce ourselves to people.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had anything out in a while, and when I was doing it, I was kind of testing the market because I was performing so much, which I love live performing, and it takes time to prepare for that. So, but then I've got all my other friends is like dropping tracks every other week. I'm like, man, I need to do that. So I haven't been able to find that balance shit, but I've had this time to think about it, prepare and get some equipment and stuff together to finally get me in there. So if it takes us 2 or 3 more months before we do something live, I'm still gonna be prepared for that, but I don't know how until they tell us how.
Right.
Well,
Like uncharted territory because, like you said
Right.
earlier, when I came back from Colorado Springs on May 1st, I had a gig on that Wednesday, and then everything was shut down. And I didn't pick up my horn for 2 weeks. And my husband said, "You need to do a live streaming." Actually, he said that right away. You know, he's my manager. And I think I was just in a funk. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to get up, and I didn't want to play. And finally, he helped me do a little.
He forced you.
Yeah, he did. He was like, "You
And
need."
I'm glad he did.
Yeah, it helped me get out that funk. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
because then I said, "Okay, well, honey, if you're gonna do," he said, "I'm gonna set up the mixing board and mics, and we're gonna do it here." I said, "Then I'm gonna do a promo. No, I'm gonna create an event announcement," which gave me an essence of something that I was doing already. And it was weird because when you finish a song, it's dead silence. You can't hear anybody. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go to the next song," you know. So
It was a different vibe that way. Yeah.
it was a totally different vibe, and y'all was nervous about it because when you're at a venue, you can do a sound check, and I can look at my husband, how's it sound out there? I'll walk out there. You couldn't do that. So what he did was he took the phone, and because I was using my phone, he recorded it, and then he listened to it. He said, "Okay, we need more music." And he turned up the music, and so we went back and forth that way before we went live on Facebook. And then I figured, I said, "Okay, we're gonna watch this, and when we do it again, I'll make some improvements." So, and I watch other people. Sometimes you may be playing too close to the mic or different things like that. So you have to watch for those. So this is uncharted territory. We're trying to figure it out. trying to figure out how do I put all my payment apps, whether it's Venmo or Cash App, and then you feel kind of guilty doing that because people losing their jobs.
Right.
And everybody's losing something, so you're like, okay, put it out there, but man,
it's tough. It's tough.
Some of them people still got some money. Some of them's not even worried about that. It's just the one.
True, but not everyone. When you have,
it's too many people being fearmongers. They fearing them. They fearing y'all, everybody. I was looking this morning and on CNN. Now they got Sesame Street up there. Now they putting fear in them kids.
They put what on the kids?
Putting more fear on in the kid. They had Sesame Street up there talking about this. I'm just so sick of this, man. Shoot. When I get through with this show, I'm getting on out there in them streets. I'm going to do something. I don't care if it's nothing over.
You gonna do street? You gonna go street?
I'm getting out of the house.
He didn't hear me, Chris.
Yeah, I heard you. I ain't going out there and street. I'm getting out in.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking. I just call me. I'll have my video. I'll be recording it. I will monetize it.
Gary, I hate that one. Why did you never done on your Hot Wheels?
Say it.
Look at Walter.
Let's do this, G. Let's get into because I thought they got some more tracks over there.
Yeah.
Walter, you got some tracks for us?
I do. But I don't know what to call up. What they
okay. You gonna give the story of how it
Walter,
yes.
You're going to talk to us about Icky Slide.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My high school quarterback, his name was Norman Nero. Norman Nero, beautiful person. He was like one of the cats all the girls like. It's like if you was around him, you might get to holler at somebody. But anyway, he was our high school quarterback, and he was a dancer. He was a great dancer. So when people start doing all these Chicago dances and stuff like, he was out there on the floor. And when I first wrote this song, I was thinking about that style of dancing. So I saw him before he passed, and I said, man, I need to change the name of that song and let Icky come up with a dance for this. Well, I didn't get the chance to do that, so I changed this to Icky Slide, and it's dedicated to Northeast High School's class of 73 quarterback and student athlete, Norman Nero. Jr. Yes.
Okay. That is cool. Yeah, we played that right before we had came on.
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome. That's a wonderful way to come up with something. Now, tell us, Walter, a little bit about your time in with Uptown Syndicate, because I noticed that you did also pass along some tracks from that era too as well, and a lot of people probably don't know about that. So yeah, let's kind of bring us and our viewers into that right there before we actually go into some of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'm gonna try to connect the dots. Mm-hmm. The high school band that I was playing with, called Boat Underground, was pretty good. Like I said, we all were being recruited by grown men. Well, that being said, Steve Gunn, that was going to the University of Oklahoma, which at that time there wasn't a lot of Negroes, colored people, African Americans going to OU at that time. So there had to be special people at OU, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, Steve came by. And we knew, everybody in the city, in this area, knew Uptown Syndicate was the band. Well, their drummer and bass player was getting ready to leave. And at the time, because I got to call his name, Larry Funches was their drummer, bad man. Yeah. Tim Mitchell, which we talked about a while ago, was their bass player. We talking about Slam and Hammond and Brothers was cold. Well, they came by my house to recruit me. And my mother said, this guy named Steve Gunn's over here. He wants to talk to you. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's Steve Gunn from Uptown Syndicate. So we sit down and talked about it, and he asked my mother, could I join that band? And of course, she talked about, what you could and couldn't do, what I could and couldn't do. And so I eventually auditioned for them, which they had already heard from me anyway. So it's like, okay, they knew what they wanted. And from that, that first recording called Uptown came out. So it's the instrumental kind of a groove that we picked up, and it sounded like one of them songs that you'd have like in a speed chase, a car chase.
Okay.
And but that was during the time where you had like Chicago, you had Blood, Sweat and Tears, Tower of Power, those horn bands.
Yeah.
And that was actually like the beginning of funk, where funk was really starting to find its place. So it was a good opportunity to do that. But at the end of the story though, when Steve left the house, I went through the house running and screaming through the house like, I don't know what to call it, but I was so excited because I had that opportunity to play with these guys. I already knew what they already been playing, opening up for people anyway. So he really liked my style of playing, and you hear some of it on some of the records. You can go to YouTube and look up some of our stuff. We got some unreleased stuff that's not out there that's pretty funky, but it's like, that's why I say it's important that we keep passing it on,
right?
Because it's history, part of that history. So they re-released our product. England, it was a company out of England that put a compilation disc together with 4 of our songs. So it's out there, and somebody really liked it.
That's super cool right there now. Yeah, okay.
And I was 16, 17 years old, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, well, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and play a couple of them. Yeah, and then we'll come back and get into another portion of some stuff, upcoming stuff that we can talk about. So everybody, check this out, and we'll be right back. If you just tuned in, we are talking to Walter Taylor III's here, our guest today on the show, and man, a lot of history here. Keep it locked.
Yeah. Sure, man.
feeling flow. Well, get down with the music. Yeah, you got to let it go. Living like bees in a hive. We do all we can to stay alive. You say you love the life that you lead. Oh, but I can tell you what you really need. Well, just be yourself. Be you and no one else. Hey, yeah, yeah. Just be yourself. Be you and no one else. What you gotta say? Life is full of fun and games. Living your life makes people the same. Loving ain't nothing but actual living. Well, plenty of love for those who are giving. I say we living like bees in a hive. We do all we can to stay alive. You say you love the life that you lead. Oh, but I can tell you what you really need. Go tell her. Just be yourself. Be you now. Be you and no one else. Yeah. Woo. Just be yourself. Be you and no one else. Every day I want to just be yourself. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Nobody else. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Nobody, nobody, nobody. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. nothing but a party. It ain't nothing but a party. It ain't nothing but a party. It ain't nothing but a party. Shout. It ain't nothing but a hill shaking, arm swinging, booty popping, nothing but a party. It ain't nothing but a party. It ain't nothing but a party. Wow. It ain't nothing but a party, 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 party. Me too, man. It ain't nothing but a party. Goodness gracious. Bye. Okay, bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and man, that was some great stuff right there. Now that was wow. Now those two that you just got through here, and that was from when Walter was in Joker's Wild's band, and actually the first track of those two, you heard Candy Williams back in the day.
Miss Candy.
Yeah, and in fact, it was Very Special Love. It was the one that Candy was singing on, and then Ain't Nothing But a Party, what you just got through hearing there. And yeah, Walter, you're gonna go ahead and talk to us about both of those. That's, man, that was the day right there.
Ooh, man, you talking about that was like a little Motown. We were at this house, the 2-car garage, and we had 8-track studio. A lot of stuff that we needed was already there, so we would rehearse. Like we were talking about earlier about rehearsals. We would rehearse 3-4 times a week, and that's how those songs. And we already had songwriters within the band, but then you had people that were learning at the same time. So that's what David Carr. We all really started, finding out what we could do by ourselves. Because after Prince started putting stuff out, we like, oh, let's see if I can do this. If I can do that. So we started picking up the bass and the guitars and stuff. But at the same time, we were being molded into one of the tightest bands around here. And I don't think too many people can say anything against that, because the horn section was always being sought after. The rhythm section was tight. And at one point, Wayman Tisdale was playing with us when he was in college. And we have I have a few recordings with him that we never did. We were just jamming. But Wayman played with us. And yeah, man, that was a great time. But Charles Thompson ended up being our bass player, who's in Houston now. But this band was so tight. I tell you, man, and we could play Earth, Wind, and Fire stuff almost like Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Candy would sing those parts. I had my Maurice White parts, and Willie Reed had his parts. You know, it was like he Philip Bailey parts, and it was a beautiful thing.
That was cool.
Walter, let them know who was all in that band, The Joker's Wild.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the horn section. Rodney Johnson, rest in peace. He was the trumpet player. Sam Hankins was on trumpet. We had David Carr Jr. On saxophone. Stephen Gunn on trombone. Let's see, that's the horn section. On bass, we had Charles Thompson. Gerald Johnson, which was the leader.
Sorry, that's
Gerald
my phone.
Gerald Johnson, which was the leader on guitar. And we had Ray Shaw on keyboard, keys, a bad man, great songwriter too. And then myself on drums, and Willie Threep on vocals and percussion. And then we had Candy Williams, of course, singing the female parts. And it was a heck of a band. We could rival, we could touch with most people. Yeah. And we ended up doing it. I mean, we opened up for some of the greatest bands. I'm saying we got the chance to do stuff people won't ever get a chance to do. You know, Roger and Zapp first came here. We opened up for Roger and Zapp when they brought that whole funk thing to the world.
Yes.
Okay, SOS Band, Frankie Beverly and Mays. I could go on and on with all the groups we opened up for. And then we had one concert with Kool and the Gang, because the horn section was always doing stuff. They jumped off the stage. I'm talking about the Myriad. You know where the Myriad is. You know about the Myriad. This huge event center. These cats jump off the stage and go out there with the audience. It was crazy.
Wow.
But that's what you did. You know, we were entertainers.
Yep.
Right. That's what you did.
So what happened, I'm going to throw this in right quick. We were being recruited by RCA. I mean, seriously recruited by RCA. And it was like in the city, like every 2 weeks seemed like it. Don't take it on our behalf. And they try to bring some other people in and, you know, arrange this. We was in Dallas recording some stuff. Like, they done rearranged our songs, and one thing led to another. So, you know, what eventually happens with record labels, companies, A&R people, individuals, eventually, you know, the group broke up, unfortunately. But it was because of the business. And one other thing, too, I attested to, is the industry was changing, too. Because at that time, Michael Jackson had put Off the Wall out. Yeah. And that's when the groups, you know, the large groups, like LTD, Cameo, all those groups were breaking up, but cutting down. So I think we became victimized because of that. The industry changed, and there you have it.
Well, now, what I was kind of wanting to know about the Joker's Wild Band, because I know, like, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about when you were in it and the guys that you mentioned and everything, but then someone mentioned about there were some other members that came in after you guys left. And so what was the time period between the time that this band was originated till it ended, or actually ended?
I want to say 81, 82. Mark Griffith came in as a bass player, and Steve Carr was the drummer. And then after that, because after that all happened, I grabbed my tapes and everything. I left and went to L.A. Okay. So I couldn't tell you much what happened thereafter, because I was out to hustle. I had already spent time with Uptown Syndicate. I mean, the dream just lives on in me, you know. But I had to adjust each time, and I still had a family. So that's why I was saying earlier, you either make the choice or you don't, or you learn how to live with that monkey on your back. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I've been able to be blessed to live with the monkey on my back and still make, you know, some headway doing some things. So I'm really thankful. But yeah, that's what happened. But Mark can tell you more about that than I could. Mark certainly respected what we left there, and I appreciate him, because I didn't know that we left that type of impression on people.
You surely did. Man. And wow. So now after that, when did the After 5 thing come to play? When did that all started after during that period? Because man, there was just so much going on back in them days, man. Everybody was doing stuff, and so yeah, take us in that world.
Man, you putting this together pretty good. You putting this together pretty good, Gary, because actually, I said this, I went to California, did all that. Well, I came back from California.
Yeah.
Some midnight train to Georgia, put my stuff in the closet, in the garage, and left it. I was done.
Wow.
I was done. And then, seriously, I was just a family man. I was done because my heart was broken because so much was happening, so much that could have happened. So anyway, hindsight.
Yeah.
Then one day this guy, and I got to give him credit for this, Kelvin Drake, Mr. Guitar here in Oklahoma City. He called me up and said, man, what you doing? I said, I'm through. I'm finished with this. And he said, look here, man, I got a gig around the corner. I need you real bad. And I said, no, man, you call too many other people. He said, but I can't call but Walter. You ain't but one Walter Taylor. And I'm like, wow. I said, that's crazy. So he kept on. I went on and did it. I pulled out these old drums, went up there, and there was one of them buckets. I mean, I'm talking, if you know what a bucket is, a club where like 10 people in there, like they should be right now. There's 10 people, and they talking loud. There's a jukebox over there, coming out the place. Okay, you got the bootlegging going. There's all kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. Movie.
So I'm like, man. So I said, okay, man, I'll come do it. Went and played with them guys. I had a great time, and I have that picture. I was always some kind of way been able to take pictures of certain things, and I have a photo from that time. And Vernon King, bless his soul, the rest of heaven, he's gone, but he was our bass player. Myself and Kelvin Drake went up there and played. I think they called it the Booty Barn. It got called something else too, but that's where I started playing again. Not just there, but it brought my desire back because I really had lost it. I was done with it because when you beat the streets of LA and all them other places, and you see those, like today, all the homeless people that's over there, 99%, I bet you 80% of those people were out there by way of the arts. Some people go. Yeah, and there's people that's sitting on the corner that's 10 times better than myself. But they just, you give up. You give it up. So, I mean, if you haven't been in it, you haven't been through that part of it, every musician that's living, that's listening to this conversation, this interview, can relate to what I'm saying because all at one point or another sung Midnight Train to Georgia. So, after 5, I came back from LA. I'm sorry I got deep on that. I came back from LA, and then Maurice Johnson called me. Said, man, I got a gig tonight. I told the guy I had a band, and I don't. I said, okay, man, I'll be there. Where's it gonna be? It was at a club. Ray, can you remember? I can't think of the name of it right now, but anyway, it's a jazz club, and we just went up there and just started playing. And we had a guy named James Russell, a brother named James Russell, that played keyboard with us, keyboard and keyboard bass. And we did a trio thing, a jazz trio thing. And Maurice plays that George Benson, those many different styles of guitar.
Yeah.
And man, we had a good time. So let me shorten this up some more. So one night, our keyboard player at the show, and we were looking for another keyboard player. And Maurice had talked to David Carter in there one day. He was in there eating popcorn and playing darts or something. So he said, man, we need a keyboard player for the night. Oh, okay, I ain't doing nothing. So, and anyway, we ended up playing together, and I could not believe what was going on. I said, man, I'm on stage with Al Jarreau and George Benson.
Wow.
And and I was who was I? I can't remember who I was. Oh, I was Harvey Mason, because Harvey Mason and Steve Gadd were my favorite drummers.
Yes.
So that's what it felt like. And then Dave got to singing, and I sung. I'm like, oh, man, this is something. Then we had a G.G. Green Howard.
Hold on, Walter. Hold on. Let's step back. Y'all was at Prince Market Mall. At that same time, when Russ was with y'all was called Spare of the Moment.
Right. You're right. So Spare of the Moment, that's what Maurice called me. That's right. And he called me about the group that came together. But I mean, that's how we came together. When we did that show, we still hadn't had a name. So Spur of the Moment came doing that TV show that you're talking about. Prior to that, we were just a trio.
It was just so free. And what was so ironic about it, James Russell had a crate. He had his keyboard sitting on the crate at Cox Cable.
Wow. And I remember that French Market Mall too, over there on May and 63rd.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was a popular jazz club here, so there again, long story short, we kind of came together, and we got a gig at this place called River City. And Maurice, somebody thought we needed an additional, we needed a female vocalist. So, me and Dave sung, but Maurice wanted to bring somebody in. So Gigi was popular around here, and there you go. She came in, and we started playing out there, and became like people were standing in line to come hear what we were doing, and the food was great too. So that's where the After 5 thing first started, and the name came from David called and wanted to know how to, one of us could get in touch with one or the other, and I said, hey man, sometime after 5, and of course, corny as that sound, that's where the name came from. And then, the rest is history. We got together, and it started to form and gel, and man, it was such a beautiful thing.
Yes, it was.
I mean, the chemistry was off the chain, and then all of a sudden, this one little dude showed up on our gig. Hey man, can I sit in with y'all? I said, okay, what's your name? What you do? So this ended up being Trey Balfour, which he's. If you don't know who Trey is by now, you need to go ask somebody. But Trey became part of it, and he had that energy, that one piece that we needed to make it complete. So he brought that youth. He'd get out there when we were doing concerts and stuff. And believe it or not, our first concert we opened up for was with Midnight Star.
Wow.
It wasn't a jazz thing, but we had that. We were very diverse. We had a lot of diversity. Is what I'm trying to get out of my mouth. But yeah, man, Midnight Star. From there, we just started opening up for everybody. Alice Bouillon came to town at the Civic Center. We opened up for him, and they looked at us like, man, what is going on here? So then the word got out on the road. If you come to Oklahoma City and you messing around, and this band called After 5 Jazz opened up for you, you're gonna be licking your wounds. So that's
yeah, you guys were definitely talking to town. I mean, gosh, I remember when what was the radio station that we had back then? God, I can't even think of the thing called letters. It was it based out of Edmond? I think it was at the time.
That's 97.7.
Yes.
AT&T.
Yep. Yeah, because I used to. I said, I know them guys. I know them guys.
Man, it was a great feeling, y'all. I mean, anytime somebody brings it up, it's like you had one of your children, and it's so a lot of energy put into that.
Somebody did tell me a story. Pamela, I think it was Pamela Williams, local keyboard player, back in the day. Their band was so tight, they were opening for an R&B singer, and they were warming up or doing sound check, and whoever they were opening up for, I said, just pay them and tell them to go. In other words.
That's cool.
Wow.
At least they got paid. They got paid. But he just wanted them to open because he heard what they were bringing. He's like, I mean, I can understand that, because if I'm just gonna do a singing gig and I got Patti LaBelle coming before me, it's not gonna
Let me tell you this about Walton After 5. I had called him. I said, look, I got y'all set up here on Bush McCain's show. Y'all need to get up there at, I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning, Walton.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now, I'm trying to give them the stage presence in front of that camera. Boy, I'm telling you should have heard them fellas. I'm just getting up there. I said, man, look here. This is your day. You need to get up there and do this.
Yep.
Can I win, Walter?
Go ahead and finish out, and I will tell you guys later what I think is so funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Walter.
Sorry, I got a little thirsty.
Okay, since y'all stop right there. Hold that. Do y'all see what he has?
Yes.
I just caught it.
I saw that earlier, but no one else noticed it.
I noticed it the first time, and I said, and I did this, and I said, did I just see? Then I said, okay, maybe I did it. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I needed everybody to know why I was practicing.
Oh, good.
It's all Walter's fault.
That's a good one, Walter.
But,
that was real good.
Self-portrait.
Oh.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. David Florin said to put that neck bone down.
Yes, because you were eating in the middle of the show.
Bickley
We're on the
was
air.
wondering what you were eating. I said, who knows? I was like, but no surprise, he's stuffing his face.
Oh my goodness! I looked at him, that Brady Bunch look. I guess it'd be this way. And I'm like, is he chewing? I mean, you were just
That was a piece of, I forgot what it was, a donut. Something. Had a munch on something.
Can't even remember.
No, you look out when he eating these nuts over here. But just like with that, I think with the group they done quite a bit, and I was out there with a lot of it, filming them, getting them on Jazz Central. At that time it was what was it, the Harbor Network, which was a satellite radio station, and which is XM Sirius Radio, the Weather Channel. So they had a lot of success and different things, and boys getting in the magazine, BRE, the Gavin Report, Jazz Time, all these reviews. And right today, people still know who this group is after 5.
Well,
Can y'all hear me?
yeah. I didn't know what you want me to respond to that. The music's still out there. The music is still out there, y'all. It's still out there. You can find it on the internet. After 5 Jazz Expression is the name of the project. But I had Gary play one song that's I'm gonna release some of those unreleased recordings. I'm gonna give it Maurice and David, because we had some stuff that was coming up on the next project. It was a lot better because our recording situation prior to that, we were working out of a home studio, and we did what we could do with that. I produced that with what I had. Yeah. And it came out and did what the radio played it. So
it's a good project.
There you have it. It wasn't $1 million studio, but we used what we had, and a lot of people liked it. A few royalties checks came. So it is what it is. But we had so much more music that we recorded and just played over the years. So no sense in sitting on it. You got to do something, because there's so many ways to put it out now.
Yeah. Is it correct that you guys, right before you guys disbanded or whatever, did y'all have something set up to go overseas to? Was it Asia or China or somewhere or something like that? Seems like I remember hearing the stories through. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the story was that at that time I was in Mississippi, and this is right after the film that the Piano Hour that I put out there. The Hampton Jazz Festival, Monterey Jazz Festival was called. Then they had people call me from Japan. They want to get them on there. I had them set up for a crew. And when I found out what had happened, I said, oh boy. I said, this is a lot of work that I've done in a couple of years to get these cats out there. They was already out there, They were just getting more airplay on the radio stations and stuff. Because I've done all the radio tracking.
And I helped you with that. I helped you with that too, radio tracking. That's why, because I was always interested in the business. So, I mean, matter of fact, I'm going to post some stuff on After 5's Facebook page. Because I have some stuff from Dr. Jazz and other resources that was being used at the time. Yeah. But anyway, that's that is what it is. And unfortunately, that band was together for almost more than 10 years. So that alone is, a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Because nowadays people can't stay together 2 weeks.
I know. That's what I was just gonna say.
You remember when Kim Waters' daughter, what was her name? Kim Waters' daughter was on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Kayla.
Kayla. And Walter and Maurice, out the five, they was on that same level with Kim Waters. And,
the Warlock label.
Warlock Records.
Warlock Records, yeah.
Yeah, Warlock Records. They was on that same level with Kim Waters.
Yeah. When we went up to New York to sign the deal, I went over to the office and stuff, but they were more connected with. It was a weird setup because they were doing rappers too, and like Kim Waters and After Five was only Kim Waters and After Five Jazz were the only jazz artists on that label. So it was kind of weird, but anyway, that ended up being a distribution deal, and I think Ray, somebody asked me that, well, why did y'all sign that deal? And we had two other deals that was in motion. Yeah, in motion. One of them was with Mo Jazz Records that hadn't quite broke out yet, but they were wanting the right artists to represent them when they finally hit the street. So you had my man out of Kansas City, the guitar player. Oh man, I hate doing this, but anyway, and Wayman Tisdale. And I was thinking the other name in the mix. But anyway, they were on that label, and then After Five was another one that was in line for that. So anyway, Motown sent the card back and said, thank you for your solicitation. Right now, at this time, we've made our decision. But still, we was in the mix, which was cool. So, there was a lot of stuff going on. And so they said, well, why you sign with Warlock? Well, I said, I'd rather sign with somebody than nobody at all. Because this wasn't the late 80s, the 90s, where people start doing their own thing.
Right.
Right. That information hadn't been learned yet, what you could possibly do. So anyway, we signed with Warlock and got a distribution deal. And like I said, I have results of all the stuff that happened. Well, we were all over the world. According to the tracking reports, when people were putting us into light to heavy, medium rotation. Yeah. Man, we were blowing some charts up. And it was time for a new record. Just about the time when the band started kind of falling off and the vibe started going away. So we were recording, we were in the studio with the next record. And, it was one of those things, but time took its toll. And and I think a lot of times when an artist is given more than what they need as far as responsibility, everybody don't want to know about the business. Right. Some people just want to play the instrument. And where's the gig at? Okay, I'm going to play it, cool. When you start giving things to worry about, then they actually see the reality behind the whole process. Yeah. You got to want to do that. You got to want to and understand it. Somebody else could cook the food. You just want to eat it. That's how some people are. Yeah, pretty much.
It's just like when they was on Jazz Central, and what they was on Jazz Central, and one of the judges was Randy Jackson, and I forgot who the other two were. And I told Francia Freda, I said, Francia, here is the music. This is what I want you to play. It was My Latin Lady. I forgot what else she played. And well, look here. When I saw it, I was so pissed at her. I called her and went smooth off.
I said, and you still are.
I'm still pissed at that. Because, see, then it was about the same time that the Hamptons and the Monterey Jazz Festival was calling and stuff like that. And I had them all set up on cruises and with all this other stuff, They was ready to roll. And another thing, a good friend of mine, his name is Bill Thrasher. Bill Thrash. Out. Bill Thrash.
Thrash.
Oh, Thrasher. Because he be trashing. Bill, a good friend of mine, myself and Joe Thompson. And I saw the piano hour. I said, this is it right here. And Boy, when I talked to Walter and them, said they had these tuxedos on, boy, I'm talking about they was high water, like they was going to pile and all that stuff. How them tuxedos fit y'all, Walter?
Oh man. But what you saw was better than what we had on.
You're right. Right.
Wow.
I mean, my pants might have been this much too short,
Oh my goodness.
but I was sitting on the drums, so it was cool.
Yeah.
At least you weren't standing. So-
Oh man, it's been hard with terrible thing, but we worked it out. It all worked out. It was a great production. It looked like it came out of New York City, and they're still playing it today. So you actually kind of see what type of groove we had put together, and that was still in the early phases of the group.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right.
So cool.
Then I done I shot a show down in Norma, and came out pretty good. And I thought it was good, but other people thought it was good too. But like I said, it's actually on my. I'm gonna have to put my channel in there so you can go and see the things that I have done without the five and different things like that, and even Gary's on there.
Grizz about to have a Grizz is something getting Grizz up all giggled out.
Laughing about Grizz. What's going on?
Your cousin Mac. That's your cousin.
Oh,
And David says, Ray, get it together. And then he goes, and you're drinking smart water, go figure. And then your
like I
cousin.
said, those days were good days. Yeah. Who? I don't Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Your cousin asked
We
Ray
already
to
discussed you, Mark, when you already discussed when you came in with Joker's Wild, Mark. So chill.
What he said, ask Ray, is Bill Thrash.
It's Bill Thrash.
Kin to Chuck Thrash.
Nah.
That went to end with us. To Ethan, sorry, to Ethan with us.
Yeah, I know what Mark's talking about. Okay.
Sound like some gangster stuff.
Man.
I can't see what y'all seeing, so
It's all right. It's the chat.
Yeah,
That's the
chat
whole
and on YouTube.
thing going on. Yeah, YouTube chat, not Facebook.
The deal in Norman done a show. It was a tribute to which is now the Charlie Christian International Jazz Festival. And Maurice and David was the first one on the show with Joe Thompson, which was the host of the show. And we had other different groups that was on that show also back in the day. But it was a lot of things people was doing around there, like contributed to Charlie Christian. Charlie Christian is from Bottom, Texas, but he made his home in Oklahoma City. And his daughter, Billie Jean, what was her name?
Billie Jean Christian.
Billie Jean Christian, yeah.
Right.
And she lived her life there in Oklahoma City.
Right.
But like I said, Walter know a lot of people. There's a lot of history there. Only thing we want to get is the people to know about the Oklahoma history. They can talk about any other city that they want to talk about. But we can talk about Oklahoma City.
That's
there.
And that's true. And I'm not so much worried about pushing that out there because it speaks for itself. You know, all you have to do is, you know, people know, but there's a lot of people that don't know. There's a lot of young people that don't know, but they're probably not more because of the internet and the individuals that we got. Like I said, we got great players. There's some young players out here right now that play their faces off. They can play with anybody in the world. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm glad of where we come from and where we're going. I have on my page. I have several Facebook pages because of what they represent. Blue Funk, BLUFONK, is my blues page, which we put a Blue Funk movement together to try to make sure we maintain the music of the community because it was going away. It wasn't the blues I grew up playing. So I'm like, we got to do something about that.
Yeah.
So you had all these blues societies and stuff like that. So I got to get this plug in for that because along with that whole process, I was able to Miss Blues, Dorothy Ellis, bless her soul, because she was the queen of the blues around here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many other people I could talk about. Rennesville, down there, they had blues festivals all the time. But anyway, it just was a limited amount of this music that was being done in the neighborhood. So we put some stuff together, and it was catching because people had somewhere to go hear it. So the blues was popping. We got artists right now that recording, they're doing stuff. So they call me a revivalist. But what it is I'm just trying to make sure it don't get left behind. Yeah. The R&B funk thing. We doing the R&B funk thing.
And not to interrupt, but on the blues thing, you have a lot of association with that. What is it, Big G?
Yeah, I've been playing with Big G since.
Gosh,
man.
Y'all been
2004, somewhere, a long time. But anyway, he's a bad boy, young kid that's out of Edmond.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can post stuff. I can talk about people all day long, but it's what we represent. And that's what my son told me. But you always talking about everybody else. And I said, well, I have to because they're part of this.
Yeah.
But she said, well, look what you did.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I just never have been like this. I've always had to, I'm glad to be in the circles that people pull me along with, and I pull them along too. Yeah. It's been said I've dusted people off and shine them back up again.
Just think about this, Walter. Just think about that. You the one hitting all the beats, the flams, and the taps. So you the one starting it off with the stick. Tap, tap. Let's get on it. Let's get on it. Now, I know we got a couple more tracks of yours. WW. How did you come up with WW and it's still going on? I don't think we heard those yet, have we?
Not yet.
Okay. If you get it queued up now.
Let's spill by WW.
Okay, WW was
a spill by WW.
WW was a song I was messing around with during the Joker's Wild Time in our studio. I was just messing around, and that's when I started teaching myself how to play a little bass guitar. So I got the bass, and I started thumping. I was one of them thumpers, learning how to thump. And I started playing this bass line. I said, well, shoot. So I played the drum track first, recorded that. And this is when I was going through my Prince thing. Then I went back and recorded the bass line. Then I went back and put a little guitar chink to it. And then I had Ray Shaw come in and play the head for me because there was certain thing I had to do, and he was, he was there. So that's where that came from, and then I didn't have a name for it. So I started putting numbers and letters for names because songs were just coming out of everywhere. It was like songs was just coming. So I call this WW. So by the time I get to after 5, I said, man, I can pull this out now because this is a jazz band and they can make it, sound like it needs to sound. Not that Jokers could do it, but it wasn't the right time for it.
Yeah.
So that was a bass song. I roughly wrote that for bass, which you'll hear guitar, and then Maurice Scat and Gary Clarity, we called him the Vapor Man, be playing the sax on top of it. So that's where WW came from, and I don't know what that means. My wife said, what does it mean? I said, I don't have no idea.
I was always wondering what does WW mean, but now I know nothing.
Everybody had their own, what they thought it was, but it's not none of those. It was something for me to catalog my song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and play that and the other one that Ray mentioned, and then once those two play, then we'll come back and wrap things up, okay? So let's get the listeners on this, and we'll come back and Ray, hold it till we come back after the music. Okay?
Now, since you going to do the other one, tell him.
He will when we come back, okay?
Okay.
You weren't listening.
Relax. Kick back and relax. We'll be right back, folks. Y'all keep it locked right here.
us. I don't know. Seasons not so far apart. Have you thought of just what it means? Families living on the streets, broke down, shoved out, blame society. Ooh, what's happening in our lives? Will my children get to see a better world in mind? Please, Jesus, save the babies, for they don't understand the foolish games that we grown-ups play. Please tell me why we living a lie. Please tell me why fathers can't be fathers. Please tell me poison minds control our sorrow. Please tell me, you know we got babies killing babies, dying everywhere. My soul, it seems insanity. My children in the air. Over my lover, over my. What's happening in our lives? So many broken homes, shattered dreams. Who is the blame? Can't find a job, nobody cares. Red tape and mind games. So many games. Still going on over and over. My brother, over my sister, my children, my mother. Game warfare is reality. Stop the killing, can't you see? The answer lies in you and me, my brother, my sister.
Trying to sound like James Dean, and I could actually do it. I would record myself. So anyway, that was the fun part about that. And I started hearing. I said, the more I listen to those songs, like I said, you become a part of that environment.
You do.
So you know, you just like people being sued for their ideas. You know, it's 7 notes out there. You know what I'm saying? And and some people are being sued for ideas that just might have been stuck back here. 'Cause I can call up a lot of people from the 70s that was doing stuff, even the 50s. The same code.
Right.
This is true. That's
Well,
true.
also what about the 12 blues? You know, 12 Bar Blues has been copied how many times? Over and over and over. So.
Well, guys, we are back, and of course, we're just having some deep conversations and stuff behind the scenes, and of course, you just got through hearing a good track by Walter Taylor, and it kind of reminds you of what's going on. That last one we just heard.
Yes.
Man, that was nice, man. That was really nice.
Oh man, the story about that goes back too.
Yeah.
Because it's there again. I was sharpening my tools in Joker's Wild Studio, and that idea came up, and the lyrics came to me like they just given to me. So I wrote them down, and we started playing with it. Then I put it on the shelf, and then I brought it back to life. That actually was going to be on After Fire's next record, and so I was actually on the fence with that. But then what happened, and then I pulled it back, and I said, well, I'll just hold on to it for whenever I do whatever I'm going to do. Yeah. But something, my spirit was telling me I need to put that out because of what I was saying. And as you listen to it, just like, and this had nothing to do with what's going on. I have there's some instruments in there that might make you, the cowbell, the conga part, might remind you of that, but when you put those songs side by side, they're two different songs. Lyrically, I was influenced, and when my singing there, I was influenced by Marvin Gaye. It's obvious because I've got every Marvin Gaye album I can think of. So I listen to music all the time. So those people became a part of me. So whenever I was writing, then there you go. It came out of me. So long story short, there, I finally put it out. I never released it, and it still hasn't been released. When I sent the song to you all, for that, I put it in their competition for the GHP Award, Virtual Music Award. I was just trying to see what people would think about it.
Yeah.
Because I had my own opinion, and I said, well, let me see what somebody else thinks about it. So I sent that song out there, and we ended up winning the award. So 2015. So thank you again. So I'm going to one day officially put that out there because lyrically nothing has changed. The world has gotten worse, and you can relate to that.
Very much so. Very much.
Yeah, you still relate to it,
Yep.
Yep.
No doubt. No doubt. But man, this show has been a super blast having you on today, man. Yeah.
I'm glad this worked out because Skype just been giving me the blues, and we're gonna get this stuff all figured out. But I thank y'all for being patient. I'm glad I was able to pull this off, and it's good to see all of you. And I look forward to seeing you in person.
Yes, absolutely, man. It's all good, and gosh, man.
We just down the street around.
Yeah, but it's the things that you have to prepare for, that you had to prepare for. And let me make this announcement again because, like I said, we were preparing for Candy Williams' second homecoming on the 24th of May, and I've had to cancel that. I've only had to cancel 2 dates the whole time I've been doing these shows. And to let people know I'm not a promoter, I'm a musician that put musicians to work. And, Candy sold out the last time. She was going to do it again. But unfortunately for this virus has shut us down. But we haven't given up hope, and we know there'll be another opportunity, God willing.
Yes.
Yeah, it will. It will be.
I agree.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, before we wrap things up completely, Ray, before we was going to the music, you had something you was getting ready to say, and I had to. Did you hold it in your memory?
I forgot.
Oh, no.
I knew it.
Oh man, get your scratch pad, man.
You should have got me when I was on the roll. I totally forgot.
You already had said that we were about to come back, and you still kept going. It's like, Ray,
Yeah.
we're listening.
We're already over time right now. It's
There you go. See, Walter's
Walter's
giving you some something to do there. Get you one of those.
Hey man, I'm gonna shout out.
I couldn't get a word in this word.
Oh please, you've been
Oh,
talking
you
so
were
much
the
today.
only word in.
Go ahead, Walter. Go ahead, Walter.
Hey y'all, I want to shout out to David Carter Jr., Maurice Johnson, Trey Balfour, my brothers for life.
Yes.
After 5 years, what it is, So thank y'all for giving me an opportunity to talk about that and other things that's been in my life. But just thankful thankful just to be here. So you all stay safe. God bless you. I look forward to working with you again, and y'all take care.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So how can we find you, Walter? Keep up with you.
Well, I'm working on stuff now, so I'm gonna be tagging you with some
websites.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Website,
Social media.
Sorry.
social network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, no website. I have, let me start with the first one. I have Walter Taylor III. That's my main page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Walter Taylor III. Okay. And then I have 4 other pages on Facebook. I have Uptown Syndicate on Facebook. I have The Musical World of the Doctor. That's all my stuff there. I have Blue Funk, BLUFONK. That's my Facebook page. And then I have Walter Taylor III / Taylor Made Jazz. That's where I do primarily most of my my jazz stuff there. And then I have there's one other page, but that's, you can find me. I think when you click on one, it should show you those other pages that I'm affiliated with. And I try to post on all of them keep people on what I'm doing, and I've had some help doing it too because it's a lot to keep up with.
Oh yeah.
And I remember back in the day, Ray told me, "Well, just check on your email, learn how to do email." Man, it's so, and in this Skype stuff, well, I'll tell you, I've had a lesson this week, so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, great. Okay, well, we got to get up out of here, but I want to thank you, Walter, again for hanging with us, of course, and everything that you do, man. You're the man. You're the one that you're holding that down here in Oklahoma City for us, and I'm just glad you are here. Like again, I'll be glad when we will be able to get together after all this stuff is gone. And again, thank you so much, and everybody else have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and of course we will be back next week. And also, I'm gonna let Grizz tell us about next week if we have anything set up for that. But other than that, I'll go ahead. Joyce and Ray, y'all go ahead and get your outros out, and we'll get up out of here in just a minute.
All right. I'm just going to say bye. Thanks for being here today, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Hey, Walter, I'm just glad you came on through here with your Skype.
And your Clorox.
You're mad. And plus giving us some of the history of Oklahoma and what's going on in our fair city, Oklahoma City, and everything. But the only thing I got to say, see you later, bye.
All right.
Walter, and his Clorox disinfectant bottle. Spray bottle too. Let's not forget that one. Oh my goodness, Walter, I have missed you so much.
Yeah, Gino, hello.
I wonder if you were dressed up like Gino.
There we go. Where's the truth?
That's good.
It's Gino out.
Love you, Gino. We got to hook up, man. Love you, Gino. Grizz, all y'all. Gary?
For those of you who don't know, this is an inside joke with us. So, sorry. That was for our benefit, for the ones that know about this.
Yeah.
Her name is Calney. Joyce, you misspoke.
What did I say?
You put Calney.
She knows what I'm talking about.
No, but it's going, what? Anyway, thank you, Walter,
Right.
again.
There.
Thank you, Walter. And
Love you,
thank you,
Grizz.
everyone. Love you too. Thank you, everyone in the chat room and YouTube, and those that tuned in on Facebook. Sorry, like I said, I can't keep up with Facebook. So I can barely keep up with YouTube. My face. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Tune in next week. I'm still working on next week's guest.
Yeah.
So we will let you know if we were able to get it all together or not. It might just be us. Who knows? But just stay tuned, and we'll let you know. Be safe out there. Please take care of yourselves and your family.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. Invite a friend. Stay safe, everyone.
And
Ciao.
take Walter's example. That's what you got.
Yeah.
You got to be masked up.
Just don't drink Clorox.
Use it on your fingers, on the doorknobs.
But I wouldn't advise the Clorox though.
Just don't drink.
You got to do that at home.
I tried this at home.
Oh man.
inside your body. Just in case. Candy Williams, will you come get your friend? Come get your friend, Candy.
All right, y'all. We'll be seeing y'all next week. Be safe out there. Be safe.